Hey, what's going on? It's Alex here, and this lighting is it's tripping me out a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't trip you out. I want to add value to you. That's all I want to do. Let's get into it. And if the lighting gets weird, just ignore it. Cool. All right. So you opted in for the 7 persuasion phrases that help me sell $77 million, my own courses by Alex Morocco. You may also know me by the pen name of Jason Capital. There's a full story in the first email that I just sent you that explains the name thing. And well, let's talk about the persuasion phrases. This is for you if you are a copywriter, a marketer, a consultant, a coach, a course seller, an advertiser, a media buyer. If you use copy to sell stuff and you want to sell more stuff and make your profits go up, this is for you. Let's get into it. All right, so the first phrase is what I call Viagra promises, right? So if you look at Viagra, when they sell stuff, their claim for decades has been, if you have an erection lasting longer than 4 hours, please consult your doctor immediately. I've been teaching this for a very, very, very long time. I don't know, 6-7 years. But the idea is if those people in the Viagra marketing team, when they're sitting there creating the campaign the first time, can you imagine? They're like, holy fuck, we're going to tell people they're going to have a 4-hour boner. No one is going to believe us. Like that doesn't need, like, does anyone want a 4? I mean, some people probably do, but I don't know. And so if we reverse it, some genius in there was like, let's reverse it. What if we say, well, if it lasts longer than 4 hours, dude, like just please get some help. Well, the promise is implied. And as a result, you don't create any type of disbelief. See, if they just been like, you're going to have a 4-hour boner, most people don't believe you. And in your marketplace, I don't care who you're selling to, people are getting hit with marketing messages all day long. Your prospect sees an average of 4,000 to 7,000 marketing messages every single day. And we as advertisers and marketers and copywriters think that we are playing catch with our prospect. We have a great ad or sales message and we send it to them, we throw it to them, we think they catch it, they look at it and they decide yes or no. That is not what's happening. Here's what is happening. We have our message, we throw it to them, and they try and evade it. Like they're playing dodgeball, right? And so we need to show up like no one else with our claims, our messages. And one of the best ways to do that is with the Viagra promise. Because if imagine if you're in the biz ops space, you're a prospect, and someone's like, you're going to make $10,000 doing this thing. You're going to make $20,000 a month doing this thing. They don't believe you. But instead, if you flip it and you say something like, hey, if your business begins to make more than 30 grand per month in the first 90 days, we just recommend you actually slow things down. Because when businesses go up really fast and you make a lot of money very quickly, there's all kinds of problems that those other gurus don't tell you about, like taxes, like payroll, like X and Y and Z. And see, it comes in you're taking the same claim and you're encapsulating it in a vessel that is much more believable. And the biggest problem we as marketers face is your audience just doesn't believe what you are saying. Right? Belief is the key. I define copywriting as a believable message that persuades people to take action. And so the key word there for me is believable. And weight loss, a Viagra promise would sound something like, hey, if you find yourself losing more than 6 pounds of fat per week, please reduce your dose by half to lose weight at a safer pace. I had a client of mine, they're media buyers. They spend about $100,000 a day on their affiliate campaigns. And they go add to interstitial page and then to VSL. And they were profitable on their interstitial page. And all I did was frame the claim this way as a Viagra promise. And the ROAS went up by more than 50% overnight. All right, and that was the only change that happened. So they were very happy. In dating, right? If your wife or girlfriend begins to initiate sex with you more than 5 nights per week, please stop using the arousal meditation for 1 week. We want you to have all the sex that you want to, totally. But it is wise to kind of build up to it like in an oven, not a microwave, because when things are going really fast, it can create all kinds of emotional issues. You could pull a hip muscle, I don't know. All right, and so we frame them that way. That is the Viagra promise. Let's get to number 2. Hope that's useful for you. The next one is wonderful. The DiCarlo promise. So there was a man named Vin DiCarlo who was in the dating space when I was in there. I was a dating coach from roughly 2012 to like 2016. And I sold tens of millions of dollars in that niche, but I wasn't the highest grossing person in that niche. It was this guy, Vin DiCarlo, who was ridiculously good at copy. And so what he had was this claim with his product back then, where he basically said, I'm going to show you this simple trick that makes women approach you, but you have to promise to use these questions, this trick, in an ethical manner. You should not use it to break up happy relationships or marriages, even if she is begging you for sex, right? That's powerful. So instead of saying, like, this thing is so good, you're gonna be able to break up a marriage. Why would you want to do that, by the way? What's wrong with you? I'm just kidding. But like you could break up a marriage with it, right? You can make people beg you to have sex with them. Well, no one's going to believe you because you're just saying you sound like everybody else making the same claims as everybody else. And so you just reverse it, right? And you say, you promise not to use this in an unethical manner. So in weight loss, it would be like, you promise to use this weight loss secret to lose weight at a safe pace, right? You will not go straight to the bikini body that you want immediately. You're going to let it take up to 90 days to lose all the weight. Promise me you'll do that. Okay. Another one in make money, you promise to purchase assets that will make you and your family wealthy, right? You will not use all this new money to buy liabilities like a new jet ski or your new Ferrari or a new vacation second home that you don't yet need. Okay. So you make them, hey, you're going to get the result, but you have to promise me that when you get this result, you're going to use your powers for good. You're going to use them ethically. You're not going to do all this other stuff. Now, obviously, the guy or girl listening to this is like, oh, yeah, I'll use it for, for assets. And really in their mind, they're like, I'm getting a fucking Ferrari, right? And that's okay. We're, subliminal, but the promise gets in there and it's much more believable. Okay? Number 3. And by the way, just warning you, if enough people see this and enough marketers start reframing their claims this way, then it will stop working because people will catch on to it too because, your market is not dumb. They are smart. And you'll have to come up with some new shit, but that'll take a couple of years, just FYI. Next one, Jackson warnings. So I got this from my good buddy, Dean Jackson, who's a great marketer. And he had this offer where he said this, hey, when you buy this thing, I may also ask, it was like a bonus, I may also ask to do a one-on-one call with you to review your website and give it a website makeover so that we can just share the call and the recording with all the other members. So I hope that's okay with you. So basically what he's doing here is like, hey, I may ask you to do this thing that you totally fucking want, and I just want to make sure that's okay with you. Wink, wink. Right? So like for coaching, right? You might say something like, hey, I may ask you to do a private, I've sold millions of dollars in this one. I may ask to do a private one-on-one coaching call with you to review your trade journal and make upgrades so that we can share the call with all the other members, right? So I hope that's not a problem for you. Or weight loss. Hey, I may send you additional bottles of our newest anti-aging breakthroughs to test out as our lab is formulating them. And I want you to tell me about your results so that I can share your experience with our general customer base. So I hope that you'll be okay with that. Of course I'll be okay with that, right? Number 4. Love this one, complaining about promises. So instead of saying like, I have these great results and you should want to be like me, or my students get these amazing results, you should want to be like them, which sounds like you're boasting and bragging. Instead, you flip it and you go like, I'm getting these great results and it kind of sucks, or my students are getting these amazing results. And frankly, I shouldn't tell you this, but it kind of sucks. So and this comes from the pickup world, by the way, which, a guy might say something like, why do all girls, like he's talking to a girl and he might be like, why do all girls wait until like nighttime to text me? Like I'm not a vampire. You can come over before sunset. It's okay, right? And obviously the pickup artist is trying to imply that all these girls text this person at night because they want to, I don't know, hanky-panky, right? And so make money, if you take it, you might say something like, hey, just because many of my students now earn 7 figures doesn't mean that you should want that also. 7 figures, it means higher taxes. It means you have a target on your back. It even means like you'll probably drive a sports car, which have higher crash rates. It's not all roses and Disney, okay? In survival, you might say something like, my wife loves that we are prepared for the coming collapse, but there are cons. Like, I want to be honest with you. She doesn't have to deal with my buddies who are begging me for protection. So, like for when shit hits the fan, like they're not coming to her, they're coming to me, right? Imagine all the people in your social circle looking to you as their savior. That's hard. So by adding the like, it's hard and maybe you don't want it, obviously it makes them want it more, but it's more believable, right? In marketing and copy, a really good principle is admit fault before benefit. And so instead of saying like, you're going to get X, Y, and Z with this, you would just admit a fault and be like, listen, the first thing I want to tell you is that, selling $77 million of courses online, it's not all like fun, There's a dark underbelly to this world. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of late nights. There's a lot of banging your head against the wall because you're running the offer and it should be converting and it converted last week, but the ad stopped working and I don't know what to do. And it can be frustrating. That's the bad part. Here's the good part. You get fucking rich. You don't have to have a job anymore. You don't have to wake up. You don't have to wake up to an alarm. You can do whatever the fuck you want whenever you want to do it. And that's cool. But it is hard also. So you got to make the choice for yourself, right? So when you admit fault before benefit, the benefit that comes after is more believable due to the contrast and the increased receptivity that you created by admitting a fault first. All right, so let's go to number 5. By the way, are you enjoying this? Value? Fantastic. So number 5 is what I call aspirational social proof in motion. So we know social proof is powerful, but there's ways that we can actually kick it up. One of those ways, instead of saying this person bought this product, if you say these people are buying this product right now, if it's happening right now, that actually makes it more persuasive. And then if those people who are doing it or buying it right now also happen to be people that you admire, people you respect, people you want to be like, well, those are the people that influence you. And so it's even more persuasive and influential in that way. So for example, a very standard of this, of just in motion, would be like, hey, in an email, for instance, like email call to action, you might say, join the others already storming in as we speak, so you and I can do this together. And so that's general, right? Because I just said join the others. I didn't make them aspirational. I did put them in motion, right? You can see it here. They're storming in as we speak. They are in motion, but they're not aspirational. So let's kick it up, right? If I was selling Money Boss to the Money Boss audiences, or I'm selling, a new program to my money bosses, I might say the other money bosses have been rushing inside all morning. It's bananas. It's crazy. I can barely walk, right? And so that would be, well, if I'm a money boss and I see that all the other money bosses are in motion and doing it, well, I aspire to be like the top money bosses and they're doing it. And so that's persuasive. You want to kick it up even more. You pick out the people who are taking the action or buying the product and you dimensionalize them. You make them more specific and you name them in ways that people are naturally drawn to. People want to be like them or influenced by them. So for instance, for the last, this would be like CTA copy in an email or an ad. For the last couple hours, I've watched millionaires, doctors, CEOs, and even a talk show radio host rush into the private members area. It's been incredible, and it's no surprise why they're successful. But I noticed that your name wasn't on the list yet. Well, Jesus, doctors and millionaires and CEOs, a talk show radio host, a famous person, they're all doing it, and I'm not. I should probably do it, right? So it's the cool kids table at lunch. All the cool kids, the table in high school where all the cool kids sat. Which I didn't sit at. You probably didn't either. It's okay. We can be nerds together. That's cool. Those kids are all doing it. And so it's still, the high school programming is still in most of our markets. And so that's why it's so persuasive. So if you're doing funnels, right, like ClickFunnels, you might say like, I'm watching so many of the top funnel hackers coming inside right now. So come on in and join the rest of us here now. I love this, like we're already inside. Where the hell are you? I love that framing. I do it in most of my copy. It's always tested better for me. And then survival. Right, like join the other top patriots inside and get your $4.97 bonus for free. So it's not just like join the others inside, and it's not just join the other patriots inside. It's join the other top patriots, and you could go much more specific with that. This is just an example. All right, we have more value. 6, sales candor. So this is really powerful if you are in a market where you or your client or whoever you're doing the copy or the advertising for. Where there's gurus, right? Or the market is just kind of fatigued by all the selling that they're marketed to and so on. And so you use sales candor to reposition you and your offer as the opposite of those money hungry, greedy, untrustworthy gurus. And so I ran this on an ad. This worked great. Got a lot of really good comments as well for a long time. And so at the end of the ad, I was like, and since we're near the end of this ad, this is the part where I'm supposed to tell you that if you don't click the link and check it out, then the world's going to end, right? Flowers will wither away. There'll be no hope left for humanity. Forget that. Look, the ugly truth is the gurus do that because they run transactional businesses. Their game is churn and burn. To them, clients are just a number. So I'm not going to do that. Would you like my simple advice? Not my opinion on this? I think you should just click the link. And here's why. And that was kind of how it ended. And so all I did is I'm I'm commenting on what's happening right now. Since we're near the end, like this is an ad. Since we're near the end of the ad, I know that I'm supposed to do all this fancy voodoo selling on you to try and seduce you to like do something. And and they do that because they're bad people. So I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to do this, right? I'm just going to sell you. But because you position it that way, I don't have to be like, I'm not a guru. I just have to talk about, hey, here's what gurus do. Gurus are bad. I'm not going to do that, therefore I'm not a guru. That's the logic in the brain. Another example, if it's like a opt-in for a lead magnet, right, or more copy, you can say like, listen, there's only so much I can say about this strategy until I sound like an egomaniac or worse, like a guru. Ugh. So I asked a few of my students to talk about it, and this is what they said. So instead of just being like, this thing is great, look at all the testimonials. Well, kind of sound like a guru. But if you reposition, you're like, listen, I know gurus would say this right now. There's only so much I can say about it without sounding like a guru. And so I don't want to do that. So instead, I just asked my students to talk about it. Here's what they said. Now you've repositioned yourself not as a guru because people don't trust gurus, but instead as just a normal person who's trying to help. The aw shucks is, saying things like, if any of this becomes unclear as I'm in this video or this webinar, just let me know because I'm not in any way a guru or something. In fact, when this is over, I plan on going back to my nice quiet life. That kind of positioning. And the shoulder to shoulder would be like, you could start an ad like this way. You go, hey, does any of this sound familiar? And then you would, or your client would reenact the typical guru pitch in that niche for like 10 to 15 or 20 seconds. And you do it, you really amplify it and over embellish it. And then it's like, so if this was BizApp, right? It'd be like, the ad would be like, does any of this sound familiar? Click the button below and you can be a millionaire in the next 24 hours. In fact, 24 million people have become millionaires in the last 24 hours with no overhead costs and no employees needed. They just click 3 buttons in the morning and you're rich. It's amazing. Well, does that sound familiar? Listen, I'm not going to insult your intelligence like that. I know you see a lot of ads like that. Instead, I just want to show you how my little strategy works. Is that okay? And you use that kind of positioning and that kind of framing, and it lowers their guard, which means their receptivity is higher, which means your message can actually get through. Okay, so the last one is called customer conditioning. And the idea on this one, well, it's basically like this. And I've made a lot of money in emails using this in a lot of niches. And I was a little bit hesitant to share it because it's really good, but my feeling in terms of abundance is, even if I'm sharing all my best stuff, I can always come up with more stuff, and it always, like, as I share my best stuff, my new best stuff comes through, and so I have no problem just adding value and sharing. So here's the idea. My thought was, if we can create the perception, if we can create the campaign where we can say, hey, because you have this identification or this quality about you, you have earned this special thing, right? When people know when they've won something, they want to claim what they won. And so what we did is we sent out emails to only the people on our list who had a Gmail address. And it basically said something like this: hey, because you use Gmail, which saves us additional costs, I don't know how that's totally true, but it's fine with me. My team and I just wrote your name down to reserve this epic free gift for you. So it was like, because you use Gmail, which is a huge favor to us, like, it's awesome. Thank you so much. My team and I just did this amazing thing. We set aside this bonus for you. And all you need to do is click this button below and you'll get this bonus and you'll get these amazing things, right? All because you were smart enough to use Gmail. So please go here to claim, your amazing free gift, which is currently on hold. These emails smashed. And so what I did is I started testing a bunch of different ones, right? ESP is what I tested, meaning because you use Gmail, because you use Yahoo, because you use Outlook. Those did really well. And then I tested device, which also totally fucked in a good way. Like, because you're reading this on an iPhone, because you're reading this on an Android. And we even sent some out because in some of the ESPs, we couldn't send it to just people on iPhones. We just sent it out to everybody and we just said iPhone and it still smashed. Then I was like, well, let's keep going. What can we do? It opens like, hey, because you opened the last 3 emails, and I'm trying to condition them as well for like, well, if I keep opening emails, I get these variable rewards. That's pretty cool. That didn't really work. It worked in theory. It didn't really work in real life, meaning, like, because you opened the last 3 emails, you just won this thing. No one cared. Same thing with clicks. Because you clicked the last 2 links in our last 2 emails, no one cared. It was ESP and device that worked. Opens and clicks did not. Okay? And so what you'll see below here is a biography, very short one about me. It's more of like my personal kind of weird story. And it is super weird. In fact, that's probably the weirdest biography or story you've ever read, largely because there's like 2 names in it. And I'm kind of explaining like why most people know me as Jason Capital, even though my name is Alex Morocco, and that's who I want you to call me as. And that's who I'm going to show up in your inbox as. So you can read that below and get all the details about that. My recommendation is you read it, you do it. And yeah, in fact, the last thing I put here, when you get to the end, you'll see. If you liked it, send me an email. Let me know. I'd appreciate that. All right. You're amazing. You're on the private email list as well. So I'll be emailing you soon, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.